So we're going to just look at some examples to put some clothes, some embellishments onto your hair. So I've got a piece of fabric here that I quite liked. I thought it looked like a tea dress kind of fabric. And you'll need a piece that's about 7 inches by 11 inches. And I've provided a pattern, a really simple pattern. So don't switch off now thinking, gosh, I'm not a sewer. This is really easy and you don't need to sew if you don't sew, okay? You might just need to put, you absolutely will need to use fabric glue, but you might need to put just a couple of stitches to secure. So with this pattern, I'm just going to turn it round. If you are a sewer, and I would suggest that if you're doing this on a sewing machine, don't cut it out, just literally, and you can do the seam allowance, so you can stitch around. You just literally stitch in these two sides to begin with. Okay, so I'd stitch those two sides. I would then cut this out as it is on the pattern, and then once you've cut that out, I'll just remove these pins here so you can see. You're going to fold this over at this side up to the stitch line, fold this up to the stitch line and fold that over. Okay, now again, if you're using a machine, you can just literally machine along there. If you're hand sewing, again, you can do that, but I would suggest that you cut that out before you do that stage. Now, if you're not a sewer at all and you're going to glue this, cut it out, stick these two sides, fold these over, stick those, fold that over, stick. Now, whenever I'm using fabric glue, I would always pin. So just pin it and then just leave it. Don't try and do the kind of next stages with that. You could, if you wanted to, in terms of the edge here, you could turn that and glue it. But because that's not really going to be seen, I wouldn't worry about that really. So that's what we're going to do with the dress. So that's kind of the first part. Then I'll show you how to make a nice kind of fancy collar, and you can add embellishments and things if you want. Now, if yours with the he, what I would suggest with this pattern, because literally this is going to go over the top, we're going to gather around the top, put a little collar on that. With this the girl one, we're gonna use like organza and mesh fabrics and just make like this really lovely, bit like a tutu under the neck really. If this was for a male, you can still do the ruffle under the neck on that, keep the same pattern, but maybe you can alter the collar if you want on that. You could even add a felted collar as an overlay on that. You would need to felt the collar first, kind of make that, and then stick to it. I would just kind of add buttons at the front and just give that illusion. Obviously use a different kind of fabric, okay, on that. Now, if you wanted to have this as a complete felting and you don't want to do fabric or do anything like that, I did actually think I have this this little lace doily. This cost me £1 in a charity shop. If you've got something like this, you could cut a hole in where you pop it over the head, and you can gather, and you could use something like this because you've got armholes there to put the arms through. So you could be quite creative with doing that. Now, if you decide that you want to use felt, I would suggest that you use a wool bats. The carded wool, like this one, comes in pieces, so it's perfect really. So all you would do is put a little hole in. If any of you have watched my Earth Angel, this is how I start my dresses off. In fact, I've got one here that I can show you. So with this, she started off exactly the same, a piece of wool bats. At the top, I did this in two pieces because I wanted to sculpt the dress, but over the head, creating space for the arm. So all I would do with this, I'd see roughly how much I need. Don't worry too much about the back because you can felt a piece there. So what you're looking for with this is a couple of armholes that you can then bring the arms down on. So I would lay that down and I would just start felting, poking the felt and felting that, just making sure that you keep some holes there to be able to put the arms. So one tip with this is maybe to attach the arms and then you can add this. I think that's how I would do that. Okay. And you would literally just felt over there. So you're actually attaching it and felting it underneath. And then you can add embellishments on, and there you could, like I did with this one, you could embroider little buttons on. You could add a felted collar, but you might, when you see the ruffle, you might want to do that. But you could add a felted collar and put buttons on there and do that down. I guess if you were going to do a male, then that might be an easier option for you because you could make it look like a little coat and you'd literally just be felting that on. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make the arms now, and then we'll continue with the dress. So you can maybe prepare the dress before you start doing the arms, and then it's a little bit easier when you get